You would think intelligence guarantees wealth. But look around. Some of the smartest people you know are barely getting by. Meanwhile, others with far less IQ are building empires. What's going on? This isn't just bad luck. There's a pattern. A hidden mechanism that keeps brilliant minds trapped in mediocrity, while less talented people race ahead. Today, we are going to expose that mechanism. The first reason is the education paradox. Schools reward obedience, not wealth creation. Smart people excel in this system. They learn to follow instructions perfectly, but the world rewards those who break the rules. By the time smart people graduate, they have been conditioned to seek approval. They want good grades, gold stars, and praise from authority figures. This creates a lifetime of working for someone else's validation. Meanwhile, those who never fit into the system have a strange advantage. They never learned to follow rules. They never sought permission. They just took action. And action, not intelligence, is what creates wealth. The second trap is overthinking. Smart people are trained to analyze everything. They want to understand every variable before making a move. But the world is too complex to fully understand. Analysis paralysis sets in. While the smart person is still researching, the average person has already tried, failed, learned, and tried again. They gathered real-world data, while the overthinker was still reading books about how to start. Smart people also suffer from what I call the curse of alternatives. Because they are capable, they have too many options. They could be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or an artist. So they choose none and drift. The less intelligent person has fewer options. They know they must make something work. This scarcity forces action. And action, repeated consistently over time, builds momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. Then there is the ego problem. Smart people build their identity around being smart. When they try something new and fail, it threatens their entire self-image. So they avoid trying at all. Better to not try than to fail. This creates a comfortable prison. Smart people stay in jobs they hate because those jobs validate their intelligence. A PhD driving a taxi is unthinkable. So they stay in the golden cage, unhappily secure, never truly free. Another hidden factor is the social circle. Smart people often surround themselves with other smart people. They debate ideas, critique strategies, and analyze everything. But their friends are also broke. Misery loves intelligent company. Wealthy people surround themselves with other wealthy people, not to show off, but to absorb their mindset. They learn that money is a tool, not a reward. They see opportunities instead of problems. Environment shapes destiny. Smart people also underestimate the power of sales. They see selling as manipulative or beneath them. But every interaction is a sale. You sell your ideas, your value, yourself. Without sales skills, smart people remain invisible. The greatest minds often create the worst businesses. They build products for themselves, not for the market. They obsess over perfect technology while ignoring what customers actually need. Perfection is the enemy of profit. Risk perception is completely distorted in the smart mind. They see starting a business as risky, but they fail to see the risk of spending 40 years in a job that could disappear tomorrow. Real risk is having no control. Smart people also have a complicated relationship with money. They were taught that money is dirty, that rich people are greedy, that pursuing wealth is unspiritual. These subconscious beliefs silently sabotage every financial move they make. Meanwhile, the wealthy see money differently. To them, money is stored energy. It is freedom. It is the ability to help more people. They don't worship money, but they don't demonize it either. They simply understand how it works. Procrastination is another silent killer. Smart people are masters of preparation. They research, plan, and strategize endlessly. But preparation without execution is just expensive daydreaming. The world pays for results, not intentions. There is a painful truth about capability. Being smart means you can get by with minimal effort. You can coast through school, through entry-level jobs, through life. This becomes a trap. You never develop the discipline to push through difficulty. The less gifted person has to fight for every inch. They develop grit, resilience, and work ethic. These qualities matter more than IQ in the long run. The tortoise beats the hare, not by being smarter, but by never stopping. Smart people also fear looking stupid. They won't ask the simple questions. They won't make the rookie mistakes in public. So they learn slowly, privately, and often too late. Meanwhile, the bold ones ask dumb questions and get smart answers. The desire for certainty is another trap. Smart people want guarantees before they invest time or money. But entrepreneurship is the art of operating without guarantees. You cannot outthink uncertainty. You can only outlast it. Wealthy people understand a secret that smart people miss. Money is not made with intelligence alone. Money is made with leverage. Leverage of other people's time, other people's money, and other people's expertise. Smart people try to do everything alone. The smart person thinks I need to learn coding, design, marketing, and sales before I start. The wealthy person thinks I need to find one person who can code, one who can design, and one who can sell, then get out of their way. Smart people also have a toxic perfectionism. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect product, the perfect market. But perfection is a moving target. By the time they perfect something, the opportunity has passed them by. The mediocre product that ships today beats the perfect product that ships never. Progress compounds. Done is better than perfect. Smart people struggle with this concept because they have been graded on perfection their entire lives. Another hidden factor is the income ceiling of intelligence. Smart people become highly paid employees. Doctors, lawyers, engineers earn well, but earned income is taxed the most. And you can only bill so many hours. There is a ceiling. Wealthy people understand that ownership is the key. They own businesses, real estate, intellectual property. These assets generate income while they sleep. Smart people trade time for money. Wealthy people build systems that trade nothing for money. Smart people also fail to understand the power of compounding, not just in investments, but in skills, relationships, and reputation. They jump from field to field, never staying long enough for compound growth to take effect. Deep work is another challenge. Smart people love novelty. They jump from one interesting idea to another. But wealth creation requires boring, consistent, deep work over years. Novelty addiction kills financial progress. Smart people also tend to undervalue relationships. They think the best idea wins. But business is built on trust, not logic. People do business with people they like. Emotional intelligence often matters more than intellectual intelligence. There's a concept called the law of the farm. You cannot rush the harvest. You must plant, water, wait, and repeat. Smart people try to hack the process, find shortcuts, skip steps. But some things just take time. There is no shortcut to compound growth. Smart people love complex solutions. They feel sophisticated when they build elaborate systems. But the market rewards simplicity. The most valuable businesses solve simple problems elegantly. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Another issue is that smart people read too much and do too little. They consume endless books, courses, and podcasts. They feel productive. But consumption is not creation, and you cannot consume your way to wealth. Only creation pays. The wealthy have a different relationship with failure. They see failure as tuition. Every mistake is a lesson purchased with experience. Smart people see failure as a verdict on their intelligence. So they avoid it and avoid growth along with it. Smart people also struggle with delegation. They believe no one can do it as well as they can, and they are right. But that is exactly the problem. You cannot scale yourself. You must let others do it their way, even if it is imperfect. The smartest people I know are also the best at making excuses. They have brilliant reasons for why they haven't started. The economy is bad, the timing is wrong, they need more capital. But exceptional reasons produce exceptional results or exceptional excuses. Here's the hard truth. The world does not care how smart you are. The world asks one question: what value can you deliver? Intelligence is potential, not value. And the gap between potential and value is action. Nothing more, nothing less. Einstein was smart, but he became famous because he published. He took action. He shared his ideas with the world. Imagine if Einstein had just kept his theories in his notebook, perfecting them forever. Nobody would know his name today. The solution starts with a mindset shift. Stop seeking permission. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Start before you feel ready. The world belongs to those who show up, not those who wait. Action cures fear better than any analysis ever could. Second, embrace small bets. You don't need to risk everything. Test ideas with minimal resources. Fail small, learn fast, iterate. The smart person wants the home run. The wealthy person takes singles and doubles and lets compound growth do the rest. Third, build a system, not a goal. Goals are for amateurs. Systems are for professionals. Create daily habits that move you forward regardless of motivation. Your intelligence should design the system, not do the work. Let the system run. 1. Fourth, find a peer group that challenges you. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Surround yourself with people who have achieved what you want. Their mindset will rub off on you faster than any book can. Fifth, learn to sell. Not in the manipulative sense, but learn to communicate value. Learn to persuade. Learn to tell stories. The most successful people in history were not the smartest. They were the best communicators. Ideas that aren't sold don't matter. Sixth, embrace failure as data. When you fail, you haven't been judged. You have received information. Analyze it. Adjust. Try again. Every successful person has a graveyard of failed attempts. The difference is, they kept going while the smart people quit. Seventh, develop a bias for action. Set deadlines that force decisions. Use Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill available time. Give yourself less time, and you will do more. Your intelligence will find creative solutions when the clock is ticking. Eighth, master the art of saying no. Smart people want to explore every opportunity, but wealth is built on focus. Say no to almost everything so you can say yes to the few things that truly matter. Concentration creates power. Smart people also need to understand the power of momentum. The first step is the hardest. The second is slightly easier. By the 10th step, you are moving faster than you ever imagined. Physics applies to finance too. Objects in motion stay in motion. There is a beautiful irony in all this. The moment you stop trying to prove how smart you are and start trying to create value, everything changes. Your intelligence becomes a tool instead of an identity. And tools are meant to be used, not worshipped. The most dangerous phrase in the English language is, I know. Smart people say it all the time. They think they already understand. But the moment you say, I know, you stop learning. And in a changing world, stopping to learn is the same as falling behind. Cultivate radical curiosity. Ask questions like a child. Assume you know nothing. The greatest minds in history shared one trait: intellectual humility. They admitted what they didn't know, and that admission opened the door to everything they would discover. Let me tell you about someone who exemplifies this. His name is not important, but his lesson is. He was brilliant, top of his class, graduated with honors, and then he spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder. He was miserable, overworked, and broke relative to his potential. One day, he lost his job. His identity shattered. For the first time, he had no choice but to bet on himself. He started a small consulting business. He failed twice. The third time, something clicked. He stopped trying to be smart and started trying to be useful. Within 5 years, his income had multiplied 10 times. Not because he got smarter. He was always smart. He finally stopped letting his intelligence trap him. He started executing. He started selling. He started building. And the world rewarded him for it. The takeaway is simple, but painful. Intelligence is not a destination. It is a starting point. Your brain is not your finished product. It is your raw material. What you build with it determines your future, not how impressive it looks in your head. If you are smart and broke, do not despair. You have the most valuable resource in the universe between your ears. But it must be deployed, not admired. You must treat your intelligence like a weapon, not a trophy. Weapons are meant to be used on the battlefield. Let's talk about the specific action plan. First, pick one industry and stay there for at least 5 years. Depth beats breadth. Your intelligence will serve you best when applied to a domain you deeply understand. Generalists are replaceable. Experts are irreplaceable. Second, create an asset every month. Not consume an asset. Create one. Write an article. Record. Write. Build a tool. Launch a product. That your output defines your worth. And over time, your assets compound into a portfolio that generates wealth passively. Third, master one skill that directly generates income. Not a hobby skill, a marketable skill. Sales, copywriting, negotiation, investing. Your intelligence makes you a fast learner. Use that speed to master the skills that actually pay, not the ones that impress your friends. Fourth, automate your finances. Smart people often ignore this because they find it boring. But wealth is built on boring consistency. Set up automatic investments. Track your spending. Eliminate lifestyle inflation. Your future self will thank your past boring self. Fifth, protect your time like it is your only non-renewable resource. Because it is. Smart people love to argue about politics, engage in online debates, and consume endless news. None of this creates wealth. Time spent on drama is time stolen from your future. Here is what nobody tells you about being smart. It is lonely. You see patterns others miss. You predict outcomes that sound crazy. You feel trapped between knowing what to do and lacking the courage to do it. But knowing without doing is just sophisticated suffering. The good news is that this pattern is reversible. The moment you act, the loneliness fades. Because action connects you to the real world. You stop living in your head and start living in reality. In reality, messy as it is where all the rewards actually live. I want you to remember something. The richest person in the world at one point was a high school dropout. The most influential inventors were often the worst students. The correlation between academic success and financial success is surprisingly weak. Why? Because school teaches you how to be a good employee. The world rewards you for being a good creator. Two completely different skill sets. The employee follows instructions. The creator writes instructions. Which one are you programmed to be? The transition from employee mindset to creator mindset is the single most important shift you will ever make. It does not require more intelligence. It requires unlearning what intelligence taught you. Unlearning is harder than learning, but it is the gateway to freedom. Let's be brutally honest about one thing. If you are smart and have been broke for years, it is not because of the economy. It is not because of your boss. It is not because of your parents. At some point, the common denominator in all your problems is you. And that is empowering news. Why empowering? Because if you are the problem, you can be the solution. You have agency. You have control. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the author of your story. And authors can always rewrite the next chapter. That is the most liberating truth there is. I want you to take a moment right now. Ask yourself, what is one thing I've been overthinking? What is one decision I have been avoiding because I'm waiting for the perfect moment? Write it down. Now ask yourself, what is the smallest possible step I can take today? Not the grand gesture, not the dramatic leap. The smallest possible step. A phone call, an email, 5 minutes of work. That is how empires are built. One small step repeated daily until the momentum becomes unstoppable. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday. Today. The problem with smart people is they want the entire staircase illuminated before they take the first step. But faith and action work differently. You take the first step, and the light appears for the second. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to see the next step. Let me share a final story. A young entrepreneur once asked a very wealthy man, "What is the secret?" The wealthy man said, "I started before I was ready. I failed more times than I can count. I looked stupid more times than I looked smart. And I kept going." The young entrepreneur said, "That's it? That's the secret." And the wealthy man smiled and said, "Yes, that is it. There is no secret. There is only action disguised as patience, and patience disguised as persistence, and the willingness to be a beginner again and again." So here we are, you, me, and a question that has haunted brilliant minds for centuries. Why do some people with average intelligence build extraordinary wealth, while geniuses die broke? Now you know the answer. The question is, what will you do about it? The difference between those who make it and those who don't is not IQ. It is not education. It is not luck. It is the decision to act despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite the voice in your head that says wait. That voice is what keeps smart people broke. You have two lives, as the saying goes. The one you live and the one you could live. Between them lies everything we have discussed today. The gap between intelligence and action. Close that gap, and you unlock a version of yourself that right now seems impossible. The world needs your intelligence, but it needs it applied, not admired. It needs your solutions, not your analysis. It needs your contribution, not your critique. Stop observing the game from the stands. Get on the field. Your intelligence is your ticket. Action is your game. If this video resonated with you, if you felt that uncomfortable truth in your gut, then do not let this moment pass. Save this video. Rewatch it when you feel stuck. Share it with another smart person who needs to hear this. And then take one step. Just one. We have a much longer deep dive version of this topic on our channel. If you want the complete blueprint with detailed strategies and step-by-step action plans, click the video right here. It covers things we simply did not have time to explore in this short. And while you are at it, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We release videos like this every week, breaking down the hidden mechanics of wealth, success, and human behavior. You don't want to miss what is coming next. Trust me on this. Most people will watch this video, nod their head, and do nothing. They will return to their comfortable prison, knowing the door is unlocked, but refusing to walk through it. The question is, are you most people? Or are you ready to prove that smart doesn't have to mean broke? The evidence is everywhere. The smartest people in history were not the richest, and the richest were rarely the smartest. Money flows to action, not intelligence. It flows to courage, not caution. It flows to those who ship, not those who perfect. Be the one who ships. I want to leave you with this final thought. Your intelligence is a gift, but gifts are meant to be opened and used, not wrapped and displayed on a shelf. Unwrap your potential. Put it to work. As single-Indian. What I'm the Olympians and a kind on work. The world is waiting for what only you can build, and it has been waiting long enough. Think about the most successful people you know personally. Not celebrities, real people in your life. Chances are they're not the smartest person you know, but they are the most consistent. They show up every day. They do the boring work, and that consistency compounds into fortune. Let us examine the psychology of high achievers. They share a trait called internal locus of control. They believe their actions determine their outcomes. Smart people with an external locus of control blame the system, the government, or bad luck. Guess which group gets richer? The brain is wired for efficiency. It seeks the path of least resistance. For smart people, thinking is easy and doing is hard. So their brain defaults to thinking. They feel productive while generating zero output. You must override this biological tendency with conscious effort. Here is a practical technique. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Commit to working on your most important task for just 5 minutes. Smart people can trick themselves into starting. Once started, momentum takes over. The hardest part is the first 30 seconds of action. Smart people also suffer from what I call the curse of comparison. They compare their behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. They see a peer succeed and think I am smarter than them. Why am I not successful? The answer: because they acted and you analyzed. There is an ancient concept called the paradox of skill. As skill increases, luck becomes more important. At the highest levels of any field, everyone is smart. The differentiating factor is not intelligence. It is who takes the right risks at the right time, consistently. Smart people try to eliminate luck from the equation. They want certainty. But luck is just opportunity meeting preparation. You cannot control opportunity, but you can control preparation. Stay ready so when opportunity knocks, you are not busy analyzing the door. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many books have you read about wealth? How many courses have you bought? How many podcasts have you listened to? Now compare that to how many products you have launched, businesses you have started, or investments you have made. The gap between input and output is where smart people live. And it is a comfortable place. No risk of failure. No public embarrassment. No uncomfortable growth. But comfort is the enemy of wealth. If you are comfortable, you are not growing. And if you are not growing, you are dying financially. There is a reason why immigrants often outperform native-born citizens economically. They have nothing to lose. They must succeed. Scarcity forces action. Comfort kills ambition. If you are smart and comfortable, you will never build wealth. You must make yourself uncomfortable on purpose. Smart people need to develop what I call intelligent naivety. The ability to not know that something is impossible. Because if you know it is impossible, you won't try. But if you are blissfully unaware of the odds, you might just succeed. Ignorance of difficulty is a superpower. Consider the Wright brothers. They had no formal engineering education. They were bicycle mechanics. The smartest minds of their era said powered flight was impossible. The Wright brothers did not know it was impossible. So, they just built it. Intelligent naivety changed the world. Every breakthrough in human history was achieved by someone who did not know it could not be done. The experts left. The academics dismissed. The smart people analyzed why it would fail. And the doers just did it. History belongs to the doers, not the analysts. Your intelligence has been lying to you. It told you that understanding is the same as doing. It told you that preparation is the same as progress. It told you that knowing the path is the same as walking it. None of this is true. Understanding without action is just sophisticated daydreaming. I want you to do something right now. Pause this video. Stand up. Take a deep breath. Now, sit back down and open a blank document. Write the name of one project you have been overthinking. And under it, write the first 3 steps you can take in the next 24 hours. Do not overthink this. Do not plan further. Do not research more. Just write the steps and then execute them. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today and today. Before you go to sleep tonight. That is how you break the curse. That is how you prove your intelligence is not your prison. There is a reason why this video is longer than most. Because simple problems have simple answers. But the problem of smart people staying broke is not simple. It is complex, layered, and deeply psychological. It requires a complete rewiring of how you relate to your own mind. And the rewiring starts with one simple admission. I have been using my intelligence as a shield. A shield against failure. A shield against judgment. A shield against the discomfort of growth. But shields also keep out the rewards. Lower your shield. And take the hit. Grow from it. Smart people have a terrible habit of waiting for permission. Permission from parents, from society, from experts, from the market. But nobody is coming to give you permission. The universe does not have a permission desk. You authorize yourself the moment you decide to act. Steve Jobs dropped out of college. He had no degree, no credentials, no permission from anyone. He started a company in his garage. He changed the world. Not because he was the smartest, but because he gave himself permission to create, and he refused to wait for anyone's approval. The story of human progress is the story of people who refused to wait for permission. They saw a problem, they saw a solution, and they acted. Not because they were qualified, but because they decided to become qualified through action. Experience is the only real qualification. Here is something you will not hear in any business school. The people who get richest are not the most analytical. They are the most irrational. They are willing to look stupid. They are willing to fail publicly. They are willing to bet on themselves when nobody else will. Rationality is overrated when it comes to wealth building. The rational person calculates the odds and stays safe. The irrational person ignores the odds and acts anyway. Most fortunes are built by people who were too irrational to know they should have failed. Money follows attention, and attention follows action. If you are sitting in a room analyzing financial models, nobody notices. But if you take action and fail publicly, people pay attention. And if you take action and succeed, capital flows to you. Action is the ultimate attention magnet. Your intelligence has created a loop. You learn. You analyze. You plan. You learn more to delay action. You create sophisticated reasons why the timing is not right. The loop is self-reinforcing and self-destructive. The only way out is to break the loop with brute force action. Let me give you a specific example. 2 people want to start an online business. Person A reads 20 books. takes 3 courses, and creates a perfect business plan. Person B creates a basic website in 1 weekend and tries to sell something. Person B fails and learns. Person A is still reading. A year later, Person B has iterated 12 times. Each failure taught them something real. Person A has read 40 books now, but has 0 real-world data. Person B now has a profitable business. Person A is still planning. The market does not reward planning. It rewards learning through failure. Smart people are conditioned to avoid failure at all costs. School taught you that failure means a bad grade. Your parents taught you that failure means disappointment. But the real world teaches the opposite. In entrepreneurship, failure is tuition. The more you fail, the more educated you become. Consider Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. He did not view them as failures. He said he discovered 10,000 ways that did not work. That reframe is everything. Smart people avoid learning through failure. Successful people embrace it. Smart people have what psychologists call a fixed mindset about intelligence. They believe intelligence is innate and unchangeable. So they avoid challenges that might reveal they're not smart enough. But wealth building requires a growth mindset. You must be willing to look stupid to get rich. Every wealthy person I've studied has one thing in common. They failed more times than the average person has tried. They have a different relationship with failure. They see it as data. They ask, what did this teach me? They never ask, why did this happen to me? That shift in question changes everything. Let us talk about time. Smart people understand the power of compound interest intellectually, but they fail to apply it to their own actions. They start too late because they are still learning. They stop too early because they expected faster results. Compound interest requires 2 things: starting early and staying long. The most successful people I know have a concept they call the 10-year overnight success. They worked in obscurity for a decade. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. They kept showing up. And then suddenly, in what appeared to be overnight, they became successful. But there was nothing sudden about it. Smart people struggle with delayed gratification in a unique way. They can delay gratification for learning, but not for earning. They will study for years. They will get multiple degrees, but they refuse to work for years without recognition. They want immediate intellectual validation instead. The wealthy understand that the first few years of any endeavor are an investment, not a failure. They are buying their education with their time. They know the seed does not become a tree overnight. It spends years underground, invisible, building roots. The roots are not wasted growth. There is a famous study of potters. Researchers divided them into 2 groups. Group 1 would be graded on the quantity of pots they produced. Group 2 would be graded on the quality of one single perfect pot. At the end, the quantity group produced pots of higher quality too. Why? Because the quantity group learned through volume. They made mistakes, iterated, and improved. The quality group stayed stuck, afraid to make a flawed pot. They analyzed, planned, and produced nothing. Quantity always beats quality when you are learning. Volume is the undiscovered path to mastery. Smart people want their first attempt to be perfect. They want to avoid the awkward beginner stage. They are embarrassed by mediocrity. But you cannot skip the beginner stage. There is no shortcut. The only way to get good is to be bad first. And the faster you are willing to be bad, the faster you get good. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. Every wealthy person was once broke. The difference is that they did not let their intelligence convince them they were above the beginner stage. They embraced the cringe. They embraced the awkward. And they pushed through. Your comfort zone is your wealth ceiling. Every dollar you want to earn exists outside of it. And the gatekeeper between you and that money is your own discomfort. You cannot think your way through discomfort. You have to feel it, accept it, and act anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of looking stupid, and acting anyway. Your intelligence amplifies your fears because you can imagine all the ways things could go wrong. You must learn to act while scared. Smart people are the best at being scared and still showing up. Let me tell you about the sculptor of wealth. Imagine a block of marble. The sculptor does not see a block. They see the statue inside. Every failed attempt is a chip of marble removed. Every mistake brings the statue closer. Smart people look at the block and see only the block. They want a perfect statue now. But the statue is not built in a day. Michelangelo took 4 years to carve David. He did not look at the uncarved marble on day 1 and call himself a failure. He understood the process. Smart people need to understand that wealth building is a sculpting process, not a discovery process. The modern world has created what I call the paradox of too much information. In 1995, if you wanted to learn about investing, you read one book by Benjamin Graham. You applied it. Today, you have infinite YouTube videos, podcasts, courses, newsletters, and Twitter threads. You become a consumer, not a creator. Recognize this pattern. When I have a question, I will read one article or watch one video. Then, I act. If I need more information, I will learn from the consequences of my action. Real information comes from the market, not from content. The market gives you the most honest feedback possible. Let me give you a rule. The one source rule. Before you start any new project, consult exactly one source. One book. One mentor. One course. Then, start. If you hit a specific problem, then consult another source just for that problem. Do not pre-learn everything. Learn just enough to take the next step. Smart people have a powerful tool called pattern recognition. But this same tool can be a trap. You see patterns everywhere. You see reasons why things will not work. You see historical precedents for failure. Meanwhile, the less analytical person sees no patterns and just tries. Sometimes the absence of pattern recognition is an advantage. I want you to think about your relationship with money. Not the numbers. Not the spreadsheets. The emotion. When you think about making money, do you feel excitement or anxiety? Your feelings about money determine your financial future more than your knowledge about money. Most smart people have negative emotional associations with wealth. They secretly believe rich people are corrupt. They think making money requires exploitation. Until you resolve this internal conflict, no amount of financial education will make you wealthy. Your subconscious will sabotage your conscious goals. Let me give you a new frame. Money is stored value. It represents the value you have created for others. The more people you serve, and the better you serve them, the more money flows to you. Wealth creation is not taking from others. It is giving more value than anyone else gives. Your intelligence gave you the ability to create massive value, but it also gave you the ability to rationalize inaction. The same mind that can solve complex problems can create elaborate excuses. You must recognize when your intelligence is being used as a tool for avoidance rather than a tool for creation. I want you to think about your current situation, not about the future, not about the past. Right now, in this moment, you are either taking action toward your goals or you are making excuses. There is no neutral state. Even doing nothing is a decision. It is the decision to stay where you are. We have covered a lot of ground in this video. The paradox of skill, the curse of comparison, the loop of analysis, paralysis, intelligent naivety, fixed versus growth mindset, tip, the sculptor of wealth, the one source rule. Each of these concepts is a key that can unlock your financial prison. But a key only works if you insert it into the lock and turn it. Knowing about the key is not enough. You have to use it. You have to apply these concepts to your life today, not tomorrow, not next month. The gap between knowledge and application is where most people die financially. I have one final challenge for you. In the next 24 hours, I want you to do something that scares you financially. Pitch your service. Launch your product. Start your investment. Ask for the raise. Do the thing your intelligence has been telling you is too risky. Your intelligence is wrong. It has been wrong this whole time. And when you do that scary thing and you survive, you will realize something profound. The monster under your bed was never real. The risks your intelligence invented were never as dangerous as they seemed. Every step you take in the dark reveals that the dark was never as terrifying as your mind imagined. Your intelligence has been both your greatest gift and your heaviest anchor. It gave you the ability to understand the world deeply, but it also gave you the ability to build a prison of rationalizations around yourself. Today, the day you unlock that prison and step into the financial future you deserve. If this video resonated with you, I want you to do something. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because I release deep dives like this every week. Videos that go beyond the surface level and address the real psychology of wealth. Not just how to make money, but how to become the person who makes money. And if you want to go even deeper, I have a full-length video on how the system is designed to keep you broke. The government wants you broke. It reveals the structural forces that keep smart people trapped in financial mediocrity. The link is in the description. Watch that next to complete the picture. Thank you for watching this entire video. Most people will not finish it because most people are not serious about changing their financial future. But you are different. You made it to the end. That means you have the discipline required to build wealth. Now go prove your intelligence was never the problem. Remember this: the world does not pay for intelligence. It pays for outcomes. It pays for value delivered. It pays for problems solved. Your intelligence is just raw potential. Until you convert that potential into action, it is worth nothing. Convert your intelligence into action, and the world will reward you accordingly. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not a gap of knowledge. It is a gap of action. You already know enough. You have read enough. You have studied enough. What you have not done is enough. Close this video, open your life, and start doing. Your future wealthy self is waiting. One final thought. The most dangerous phrase in the English language is "we have always done it this way." Smart people are especially vulnerable to this because they have evidence-based brains. But wealth creation requires doing what has never been done. Requires going where no map exists. Your intelligence cannot navigate unmapped territory. You need something else. You need courage. You need faith. You need the willingness to be lost and find your way. Every wealthy person started in unmapped territory. They built the map as they walked. They did not wait for a map to be given to them. Be the cartographer of your own financial destiny. This is the end of our journey together in this video. But it is the beginning of your real journey. Everything before this moment was preparation. Everything after this moment is execution. The world is full of smart people who never built wealth. Do not be one of them. Be the exception. Be the one who finally acted. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment below. Tell me which concept hit you the hardest. Was it the paradox of skill, the curse of comparison, or the one source rule? Your comment might help someone else who is watching and struggling with the same thing. We rise together or we fall alone.